Adams Board pretty much goes unnoticed. They're just something that's on a tax bill. And there's a great deal more than just something on a tax bill. There are services that are provided, again, by the Adams Board with their partner agencies, their staff, and the board members themselves, many of whom are professionals in and of their own right, volunteering their time, lending their expertise, skills, talents, their passions. And I believe that all needs to be acknowledged, recognized, and openly discussed more often. And I think it's also important to say that the Adams Board and Kim Frazier in particular was instrumental in the Track 3 of the opioid litigation, where Lake County was the beneficiary of a verdict of $650 million. That's no accident. That level of professionalism needs to be talked about. That commitment to service of community. And the fact that Lake County was able to support our sister county, Trumbull County, in backfilling. And when I say backfilling, Lake County was exceptional in our level of documentation, memorializing, and taking the opioid situation very seriously. And we were able to work with Trumbull County and fill in those blanks and help them put together a model. Lake County and Trumbull County were the two bellwethers. Our Adams Board and Kim Frazier especially was instrumental in that. And I believe it's vastly more important than a photo op and just saying thank you. I think we owe them a tremendous debt of gratitude for all that they do. And their partner agencies also serve quietly, discreetly, but they all need to be recognized because they are providing a serious benefit to the people of Lake County. It's a benefit that I don't think we really appreciate, and I think it's something we do need to talk about more. Mr. President, thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner.
In the month of May is key because we see it more, it's more prevalent. We see it in our jail system, we see it in younger kids in school, and it's part of a bigger issue, and it's only one part of what the Adams Board is part of. And like Commissioner Hammercheck was saying, it's all those other agencies that you are part of that we're fortunate to have here in Lake County, that we are glad to make awareness of this and do what we can as people to address these needs, and hopefully people find peace and solace and a way out. And so thank you so much for what you do at the Adams Board and all of our agencies.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
In the Engineer's Office, resolution authorizing execution of a professional services agreement between Euthenix Inc. and the Lake County Board of Commissioners.
Issues in their families, their immediate families, their extended families, and it's difficult for them to deal with these issues. To not have the availability of these services. As an example, mental health medications in the jail exceed $150,000 a year. Now, people who don't have the medical plans to cover that, who don't have the knowledge of resources that are available, makes this so much a greater issue. We need to realize that the Adams Board and our mental health and drug addiction services here in Lake County are key to making Lake County a better place to raise a family, to build a business, to grow your life. So I fully endorse the movement to have that levy renewed on the ballot.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Commissioner.
I agree with the sheriff and both commissioners, I believe, and the Adams Board is asking for renewal to continue to do the work that they do with all the partner agencies that we don't even see that are self-funded, or they go out and have get funding on their own to take care of these people, which I think is an unprecedented amount of people we've seen in our lifetime, from the young until, as the sheriff says, we see that most people with mental health end up getting arrested, or they'll self-medicate with alcohol or drugs, or they get into a system or a loop that they can't get out of. And the Adams Board is there to help try to break that cycle. They're asking for money that they've been getting forever. I know inflation affects the Adams Board too. They're not asking for more. To find dedicated, good, hardworking people and not pay them more today is hard. So my hat's off for running a tight ship and providing the services you do. So I too am behind supporting this.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Mr. President, if I may.
Absolutely, Mr. Commissioner.
So I feel it's also important to echo and I dare say amplify the sentiments that have been offered here. I've often talked about looking at funding comprehensively, taxes comprehensively. I think it's important to say that although these are not the only dollars that go through the Adams Board, the dollars that do, in some cases, may actually have to be returned because they can't be used for the purposes so stated. But at our recent correction board meeting, I was quick to be complimenting our own Lake County's Judge Treffitt's Mentor Municipal Court for working with our Adams Board in Kim Frazier's creative ways of making asks of the state to waive a strict reading or interpretation of guidelines, allowing for dollars to be spent wisely and make a difference. I believe the Adams Board dollars in some cases are the last dollars in. And this levy represents a good use, being good stewards of the public dollars. John Music, this one's for you, brother. That is so important that these examples be shared because they are not commonly known. They're not openly talked about. And sometimes just that simple, let me make a phone call, 24, 48 hours. And it's easy for a judge to just want instant gratification. But when we have courts in Lake County that are open-minded, flexible, and that they really appreciate that that service goes beyond that moment when somebody's standing before you, that's important. And I think that also needed to be brought into the conversation. I think we owe the Adams Board a great debt of gratitude for just how efficient and flexible they are in offering so many opportunities to those that they serve. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner Rinkovich.
Yes.
Commissioner Putchner.
Yes.